Welcome to the post-game show of Friday night in Athens. I'm Owen, Warden. We're here at Slaughter Field where Fellowship Christian just won 52-28 over the Athens Academy Spartans. A fantastic game. I'm joined by Jackson Rowland and, of course, Jonathan Granby, the starting quarterback for Fellowship Christian. Jonathan, you had a fantastic game. 289 all-purpose yards, plus about 40 on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you feeling after a win like today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Good region win for the team. You know, really put in overdrive with the run game, and you know, we got the job done.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, I mean, we have to mention the factors like inclement weather, pouring down rain on you guys in a big game like this. How does that change your mindset in leading this offense when you're playing in the rain?
I mean, I know our run game can take over, and our linemen do a really good job. So we just put it in their hands, and they get to going. You know, we get the job done.
Yeah, I know.
Did it tonight.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you guys were throwing the ball, and then you shifted right to the run game.
Yeah.
You had CJ just run all over the defense. I mean, it was an absolute performance. How confident did you feel handing that ball off to him today and knowing that he was going to get a couple carries? Of course, finished with 306 for today.
Yeah, CJ's a really special athlete. I've been playing with him since 7th grade. I know when I put his hand off him, he's going to take it. So I don't have to do too much. So it's pretty good. You know, just get to watch greatness. It's pretty good. I'm excited every week.
And at what point did you kind of realize, you know what, we're going to have to go away from the air game. It's time for me to take it on the ground myself?
After half, we were like cooking up some pass plays in halftime, and then we came out, it was pouring a little bit, but we knew we had to shift. We focused on the run game in halftime, and we got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it yourself, a big-time region win. You guys vault up to first place, so congratulations on that performance. And, again, great game, Jonathan.
Thank you.
We'll be back with even more on Friday night in Athens. Welcome back. We've got CJ Givers on the show. CJ, insane performance from you today, I must say, frankly. We unofficially 306 on 23 carries, Madden numbers. I mean, what were you seeing out there, man, that allowed you to just rush for, I mean, that many?
I mean, the offensive line was opening up great holes. I was hitting the holes, and we just pounded the football on them.
Yeah, I love it, man. So when you have to carry the ball that many times, I mean, what kind of toll does that take on you through all 4 quarters?
I mean, towards the end, I started to cramp up a little bit there, but I just know I had to keep pounding and keep running. So, great team win, and great job.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, to get this team win. But, I mean, not to mention, I mean, you got guys like Josh Petty out there, right? You just mentioned blocking the way for you. How much would you really, like, give him, plus that rest of that offensive line, that success for being able to block for you as well as your teammates?
I mean, incredible. Josh is an incredible player. I mean, I've been playing with him since 5th grade. Great player to run behind, and I just love the offensive line and what they did for me tonight.
Yeah, and just overall, man, how much does this win mean for your team? First road win, a region win to get you guys at first place. How much does it mean for you guys?
Huge win. We know we needed this, and just amazing. We needed this as a team, and we needed this for the region championship. So that's great win.
Absolutely. Well, again, CJ Givers, 306 on 23 carries, a monster performance.
Tonight, big man.
Absolutely. But hey, great game, and thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Welcome back to Friday Night in Athens. I'm here with Camille, Stroud, and head coach John Thompson. But Camille, I'll let you take it away. I think you know this man better than any of us here.
I do, Coach. Congrats on the win. Huge win tonight for y'all. Your first win on the road. How does it feel?
Well, you saw those 2 guys right there. When you got a guy that runs for 300 and you got a quarterback that has all-purpose yards for almost 300, they put the team on their back. Our defense was struggling. We couldn't get them stopped. Then we made a couple of big plays on defense, had the interception for the touchdown and a couple of things there. But it was great. We got really good people. We got good people, and they showed it tonight. They showed that they know how to win.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts looking forward to the rest of the season and into playoffs?
Well, this was a huge win. That's
Absolutely.
one of the top teams in our region. But we got to get ready for next week. And I couldn't even tell you who it is right now because this was so big. But I'll know here on the way home. And we just enjoy the ride home. Enjoy it tomorrow morning with our players, and then tomorrow afternoon is get ready for Providence, I think.
Providence.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, you had a great game today, great team, but again, you faced a really tough opponent, as you said. How would you assess Athens Academy's performance today?
Well, they kept battling and coming right back. It started off, and I maybe I should have gone for it on 4th down, the very first drive, and we didn't. and we didn't make it. Maybe we should have kicked the field goal. And then that kind of put us behind. That was stuck in my throat for most of the first quarter. But our guys just kept coming back and kept the pressure on them the whole game. Athens kept battling and coming back, but our guys kept the pressure on them. CJ, Evan Haynes had a big game. We had Josh Petty had a big game. So our playmakers stepped up and played. But give a lot of credit to Athens. I mean, they ran the football for a lot of yards. I mean, we got to get our run game fixed on defense, or we won't beat anybody.
Yeah, and even Josh Milholland, a big-time closing interception using some of that wide receiver speed to take that ball all the way back.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially being honored on a senior night like tonight, how much did it mean for you to coach for someone that you've coached for so long to get a moment like that?
Well, that was fun. That was a hard game, man. That was a really hard game, and not knowing how we were going to respond, and after a big win last week, but we needed to stack this one on top. But when you see your guys come out like this, and it was ugly at halftime, I'll tell you that. It was not pretty with our talk in halftime, but they came back and really responded after that.
Now, what'd you say to the team at halftime? Because you had to say something for them to get to fire out and get all the way up to 52.
Well, I said we weren't playing like we should be playing, and that we weren't competing like we should be competing, and I think they took the challenge and stepped up, and you see what our guys did. We put the pressure on the entire second half.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, we won't keep you too much longer. We know it's wet, it's cold out here, and y'all got a trip back to Roswell.
Let's go.
Thank you. Congrats on the win, Owen.
Incredible win, Coach. Thank
you.
you so much and for coming on the show. But we'll be back with even more Friday Night in Athens right after this. Welcome back to Friday Nights in Athens. I'm joined by Camille, Stroud, by Jackson Rowland. Guys, a great game, top to bottom. The score may not dictate it, but I've got to say that was an incredible performance from both teams. Again, just to reiterate, 52-28, Fellowship Christian gets the win over Athens Academy, and we'll start with the winner. Camille, talk us through what went right, especially in that second half for Fellowship.
Absolutely. Well, as we talked to Coach Thompson, he said he gave him a word of encouragement in the halftime locker room. But honestly, main players, Jonathan Granby and CJ Givers. I mean, enough said, right? Their offense and the way that they control the field, the leadership that they show on the field is insane. The Paladins came together tonight, and they really showed up.
I mean, guys, nearly 600 yards all-purpose between the two of them. I mean, that you can't get away from this game without bringing up those two. And, I mean, let alone CJ Givers 300 yards on the ground. Yeah. That's incredible stuff.
Oh, yeah, when he came over to the tent, we asked him, did you know you had 306? He said, no, I didn't even know I was close. So his mind was just focused on running the football, and he did.
Absolutely.
He did that well all 4 quarters.
I mean, I said it, but Madden numbers, guys. That was
right.
an impeccable performance. But then you can't even get away from talking about Jonathan Granby. I mean, still a great performance.
Great
but
game. Even in the rain.
Even in the rain. And maybe that's why we saw so much from the ground game. But Athens Academy still put up a pretty solid performance. We can't get away from the fact that they were still able to get 28 points on the board. Jackson, what did we see from them in that second half?
Well, you mentioned this score doesn't tell the full story. I mean, obviously, Athens Academy kind of implodes that last second half of the fourth quarter. They know they're losing. They're trying to rally. You get desperate, and you make mistakes, right? A couple picks there at the end. Josh Milholland, you mentioned the dagger in the coffin with that pick six late. But he almost cost them with the PI call against Deion Standerford, or Austin McGee, rather, but he makes up for it, again, closing it out. But Athens Academy, a great offensive performance, but just made simple mistakes and shot themselves in the foot. Fumbles, penalties, special teams errors, and they'll say a couple calls didn't go their way, and that's debatable and maybe so, but ultimately the team didn't execute like they needed to tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had plenty of guys that had great performances. Athens Academy themselves had a great performance on the ground. I mean, it would be a shame if we didn't talk about Jeremiah Wingfield's performance. If we didn't talk about Jamani Welch's performance. I mean, Jamari Welch's performance. Both of those guys had fantastic games today, and both of them nearly combined for 200 rushing yards. Or I believe they did combine for over 200 rushing yards today. So both of those players were stupendous. They just couldn't get it done where it mattered most, and those turnovers will absolutely do it. But speaking of turnovers, I feel like we have to mention a little bit of the complications with refs. You never want to do it, but there were a couple uncomfortable calls that it felt like it wasn't great, especially on a muffed punt. Jackson, we were right here. What were you seeing from that?
Yeah, the muff punt, he waves for the fair catch. And the ref says he has control. From our angle, it didn't look like he did. He's kind of slipping around. It's wet. It's tough to make that call. Could have gone either way. From my angle, it looked like maybe that was a muff punt, but you have to adapt and overcome, just like CJ was saying in the interview. You just got to be able to roll with the punches and keep playing.
I gotta tell y'all, I was over on the fellowship sideline and they were getting a little chippy. They were getting a little frustrated. They were ready to get on the road and get out of the rain and go home. So I think frustration was high, tension was high. You know, refs, they don't always go your way.
Yeah.
But, you know, the players, they rallied together and as a team decided we're going to take home this win.
Yeah, and they got 52 points on the board, so I'm sure they can't be complaining, but they'll be able to get on a bus, get out of here, and maybe even dry off a little bit. And I think, guys, we'll do the same. So I wanted to thank you all for joining us, for our lovely producer, Rafa Cruz, and everyone here.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. It was a fantastic time. I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else. But for our sideline reporter, Trey, Meadow, who couldn't be with us, and our producer, Rafa Cruz, thank you so much for joining me, and have a great night.